I don't see it, Lieutenant W. Freitor. I don't see a person take a shot here and hit something there, in the whirling in rags.
There, 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of the bay, blue from the distance and the air, you see the smallest rectangle, barely a glowing light on the third floor of the whirling in rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman's shape move behind the glass, her limbs long and slender.
It's not possible to climb that ladder, and even if it were, why? There's no platform up there to aim from. To warm his hands before pulling the trigger? Perhaps, but anyone could have made this. The coast is specked with fires this time of year. Truthfully, this seems like a very poor choice to take a 1.2 kilometer rifle shot from. Visibility is awful. There's water vapor everywhere. I think we can rule out... those? A smoking assailant who favors Timotiri to Astra or Joanne? Cigarette butts are everywhere. This is a common brand for all men.
Timotiri was a Revacholian colony on Ilmaran. The suzerainty's population was mostly Ilmaran Areopagites, up to 97%. The region was known for its tobacco export, hence the name. Oh, you do? The butts you saw had a silhouette of a boy wearing a coffee hat, a tobacco picker. This boy is the Timotiri brand logo. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Juan, a local blend from the southern islands, or Astra, a legendary cigarette from Grad. Timotiri is favored by older men who like its old-fashioned paper filter tips, insane amount of tar, and the sweet smells of colonialism and halva.
Hello again. Aha, but it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
It looks old and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer. An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution, revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Wait, is he saying that we should just bypass the excesses of the revolution?
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases, the most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars. What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant. exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Humpty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Humpty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Humpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Joost?
The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Humpty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of '07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. But of course, what else? Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, what else? I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can give you some.
Oh no, I don't have it on me, officer. I was talking in more general terms. I'm just spending time with my kid here, showing him around the lesser-known parts of our hometown. It wouldn't be wise to carry huge amounts of cash on such expeditions.
Not that he would have to worry about being robbed. He looks surprisingly buff. Does he work out?
I do some Lomantang stick fighting now and then.
Lo Mantang stick fighting is a form of martial arts originating from the island of Lo Mantang. It uses slender wooden sticks for confronting the opponent.
Actually, a great many cultures have their own version of stick fighting, such as the sacred Mabolo tradition of the Harli people, the name deriving from the butterfruit tree traditionally used for crafting the long, slender sticks, whereas the sticks used in other cultures...
You doze off as he paints you a comprehensive picture of the history of stick fighting among mankind, seasoning it with unexpected pop culture references. Man, he's good at speaking. People must love him.
But anyway, I'm boring you with details again. You were saying? Lomantang stick fighting is a little like a Berolidin addiction. I've been practicing it for nearly 20 years now, so you could say that my doses have grown a little peculiar.
Dad's fighting with sticks every night after dinner for 4 hours. He has a special room for that, and a special costume.
That's right, Mikhail. It also has a meditative quality, helps to clear my head. But anyway...
The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical, R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Suddenly, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead, no rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down or gone behind a corner. You only hear distant waves washing the coast. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb. Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen, did not. And now you're just standing there with your hands fallen to your side. Is trying to talk to the city something you've done before? Is it in your secret repertoire? A trick for when you're out of ideas?
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We've already talked to the cryptozoologists. Working with them might give us a good excuse to run around, give us some structure. And then there's the church. We've already searched that and can rule it out. I know it doesn't feel like progress, but exclusion is a step too. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way, sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village. Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, displays. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you.
Always a pleasure to... officer.
Hello, hello. What can I do for you, officer? Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes. Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids.
Inside the traps, a number of a meat-eating stick insect. Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism. They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? Hell no. I had no idea. And I'm still cross with him, to be honest. It's not like him. He's got his quirks, but dishonesty, disloyalty are not one of them.
Thanks.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture? I have a feeling the only people foolish enough to spend their time skulking among the reeds are these poor fools, and us. But fine, it's not like we are drowning in leads. Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, Now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt. The dome-shaped plastic boy bobbed. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. Some tufts have been crushed. Snow covers the broken stalks like a shroud. In the east, the city center hums to you. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
You set the apparatus back on the ground among the reeds. A familiar apparatus lies among them. The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any
Another empty trap. Of course. Noted.
A man lies on the board. This trap's not too hard to spot. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. Nothing but locusts in this.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done. Of course. Noted.
A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall, with another 7 shades standing. A cold. This is the last of the traps, the one Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality. The reeds by the abandoned campsite hiss and shake. The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here. No locust. No phasmid either, but still. Your voice echoes on the coast, carried by a gust of cold wind.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there, I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked the trap up and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not. We did sort of promise to tell them, didn't we?
A cold gust of air dries your sweaty face, and you look to the dark shadow, the felled building in the distance.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
a number of things don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather around, kids? The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about their would-be leader, is less amused.
But you still are! What happened? That's a real downer.
The young speed freak is silent.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
One speaker. They have one speaker.
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing. I'm sorry, but there is no lab equipment and no drug ingredients.
And of all cellular-based life, what's your point, Lawbringer?
What do you mean, friend? It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music.
This may be the brain damage talking, but you've definitely never heard of monodynamic or one-speaker systems.
No shit. That's... Come on, that's... I meant to say, not true. What do you mean, do? What do you mean by lenient?
He thinks for a moment, then opens his mouth, but closes it again, then finally raises his hands.
Things are just way too hard for an entrepreneur in this city. It's not like we're not going to turn the church into the wickedest club in East Revershall.
Because we are! We totally are!
We just got to turn it into a speed lab first.
You know, to get our foot in the door.
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up. No, man. They're spooky, all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off, too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
Sir, you promised you'd be lenient.
This is it. Judgment time.
Yeah!
I knew it. It's impossible now.
No, Andre, it's harder now. This hard cop has come to show us how much the fish is, and the fish is always so much more. We all know there was never going to be a club for anodic music with the Speed Lab. Now it has a fighting chance. There needs to be a club for anodic music in there. Needs to. Everyone hates each other. Everybody hates it here. It's all just drugs and we're slaves and I can't. We are running out of time. We need a win, Andre. I promise this will be a win. We won't cook speed in there. We'll do it clean. We'll do it true. We'll do it sober and real and beautiful. This will be a victory for the light.
Okay, we'll try to do it without the drugs. We'll do a straight club up in there, spinning the maddest reels and nothing but, I swear to God. Okay, Egg?
From here on, it'll be straight all the way.
Goodbye, officer.
Hello again. I did, and I'm sorry. For what it's worth, which isn't much.
This is why I didn't go into the tent. Typical delinquency.
You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I know. I should have been able to control them, and I will in the future. I promise. May I ask? What did you tell them? Thank you. I'll get them under wraps, I promise.
The device is cold to the touch. An angular Omicron logo adorns the yellow plastic cover. Underneath you see a reel of tape rolling. You put the device back on the ice. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him, and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence? No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes? Any information on the library card? Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else?
Assign it to someone else, Alice. We've got enough on our plate.
Great. I'll give it to your colleagues. You don't have to worry about the case anymore. We'll send our officers to take away the body. Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. 10-4, sir, glad to hear that. I'll write down that there is no need to issue a new one to you then. Over. Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker.
Yes, for sending mail.
You drop the white envelope in the darkness. It lands with a soft thud on what sounds like a couple of letters. About a week's worth of mail as collected in there. They'll empty this very soon. Probably did the right thing. You can't trust that slug Everard. You know he's going to play you somehow.
All right, let's go back to Everard. If we don't mention anything to him, he won't know before it's too late.
Oh, sweetie, I don't even know how to thank you for finding my husband and helping him out. I hope we haven't been too much trouble for you. Here, I want to give you a small token of my gratitude. It's a tie, Mexican origin. The pin is an antique, quite special.
The little silvery knob holding the tie together feels warm in your hand. It's in the shape of an avian skull, with 8 eyes. You could ask her about this when you get the time. It's probably a cryptid, but the phasmid, of course, is more important.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Ramblings? Nonsense. Your description of the phasmid is the most precise I've ever heard.
But, darling, I didn't even get the size of it right.
Measuring things is important. How did she get the size?
You were a child, my dear. Really. It's extraordinary what you were able to describe.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar notebook.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5 and a half in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
Betancourt got bombed in the war. It used to be quite near, circa 20 kilometers from here.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved. Swaying, towering above me. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys. That sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then I met Morel.
We were on a date. Can you imagine? She tells me a story, and it's the most detailed report of the Insulindian phasmid I've ever heard. The sounds.
It did, yes. Like reeds in a gust of wind.
The way it moved, the colour, how some of its limbs were white, like marble. It matched perfectly with what I know from other accounts. It was amazing. If it weren't for Lena, I might have given up hope years ago. It's no exaggeration to say that she restored my faith in my profession.
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate the chance to relive it whenever I get one.
I couldn't possibly shower thanks on you as enthusiastically as my wife has, but I am grateful for your assistance, officer. Good. Okay. And? Completely empty?
No locusts? No
That's not ideal, but I definitely left that one stocked.
Right from the campsite? Just means the Insulindian phasmid is even more clever than we thought.
She's engaging in a well-known self-deception called motivated reasoning. You should correct them.
Of course, more clever.
Yes, the Phantasmadeia picked off the locusts and escaped. This is good news, though we'll have to reconsider the design of the traps, make them more secure.
Another trip to the reeds.
Of course. Be sarcastic. Unless you have an alternative hypothesis you'd like to venture, mine stands, okay? Actually, no. Excuse me for getting emotional. This is a big deal for us. You've helped us twice now, and brought some great news too. My gratitude, and the gratitude of the Société Cryptozoologique de Ravachol, is yours.
Heartfelt gratitude. But does it feel like closure? What really happened?
Thank you, it's an honor. We should probably return to our main investigation here. This has been refreshing, but...
Damn it, Lieutenant. Have you no intellectual curiosity? Consider the way the empty trap was disturbed, as though shaken. Most likely the hands of a young person. Hands small enough to fit inside the trap, too. You should ask the red-headed boy, Kuno.
A little hooligan. But what would a child want with bugs?
Oh, my dear Morel. You've been an old man for too long. Kids love to torment insects almost as much as they love to torment old folks.
Delinquents, my favorite.
Oh, you've been such a dear to us. Please, let us know whatever you turn up. I have a feeling we're getting so close.
Well, I see you've got all the help you need. I'll see you tonight at my place. Let's play suzerainty, but no more field trips for me.
After this is your last chance to talk to Gary.
Really, Gary? We're getting somewhere here. I'd love to play suzerainty, but...
Lena, I'm sorry, but you're not getting anywhere. It was some kids. I know the little mutants around here. Leave anything out in the open and they'll steal it, even if it's bugs. Morel, it's been fun, really, but I need a bath and I have deliveries to handle. When this tea is done, I gotta run.
No need to apologise, Gary. You've been more than helpful. We'll have to take a rain check on that game of suzerainty today, though.
He keeps the language unemotional, but it's in there. Disappointment.
Can I help you?
What is this thing? What, the interior decorating kind? You know, I'm sorry. This is actually a nice bird. A competent piece of taxidermy. I can fix it to the plaque and have a new bird in the establishment, I guess? So, I don't know. Thank you. I'm gonna go with thank you.
I feel good about our work here today. It's all about the little things, like bringing people random stuffed animals.
It's not actually about that, but he liked it.
Very generous of you to help us out, officer. I'm sure glad to be back from that little excursion. I mean, officers.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
Hi again, gendarme.
Could he be a member of the homosexual underground? Just pointing it out. We're not talking about some kind of cult with members here. You made it up.
Bye-bye, gendarme.
The Coppernado is back. What do you want? Yeah? What? Anything else you want, Cobb?
The tear machine. Your bottles clunk into the machine.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly. And, as it's always been, it's impossible to open a container with rhetoric. Maybe you're losing your mind.
Oh, hey, mister. I knew... Sure, mister. Absolutely. I'm always willing to help out nice fellows such as yourself.
Mr. Dubois, I hear the meeting with Titus was a glowing success. That's such a relief. Titus can be a handful sometimes. Now, what can Everard Clare do for you today? The Golden Boy returns once more. Wonderful. Simply wonderful, Harry. Of course. I already knew this. My friend, the mailman, confirms the letter is on its way. You've done a great thing today. You've given the children of Martinez a future and proven to be a true man of the left. I can finally trust you now. You're in my inner circle. You too, Mr. Kitsuragi. We can talk about anything. The strike, the murder, your lost gun, nothing is off the table.
See? Forging that signature really paid off. Well done, sire. By guile and deceit, you're in. You don't know his full plan. Perhaps he expected trickery. Perhaps the signatures weren't important. The point is, do not think you're ahead of him.
Order it. You know my men didn't kill him. They told you. It was a happy accident. You know how it is. No one takes the initiative. If I wanted him dead, I would have had to do it myself. And I'm too fat for that. Why a war, of course.
And what do you have to gain from a war?
Victory, Mr. Kitsuragi. I have victory to gain. We are going to start a war with the Wild Pines group and win before they even realize there is a war. I have. It's a great story, Harry. Did you also know how the bee colony kills the giant hornet? They swarm and blanket it entirely until it suffers a massive heat stroke and dies. Harry, we outnumber them 1,500 to 1. And that's just Martinez. With all the unions in Revachol, and with public opinion on our side, we can hold off 2 men, or 15 men, or even 50 men. The more they send, the worse it's going to look for them. They made a huge mistake hiring those guys. No one likes foreign mercenaries. The leftists hate them, the fascists hate them, even the moralists think they're in bad taste. Harry, there is no strike, only war. Class war. Or, in business terms, a dawn raid. Or wait. Is that when you still pay them something? Because we won't do that. We're not going to give nothing. We're going to take Terminal B away from them. The roads, the gates, the containers, that big crane, even the damn coffee maker. We're going to take all of it for the people, and fuck Wild Pines.
The word fuck rings like a gunshot from his mouth. He doesn't swear often.
So that's why you haven't let Joyce in?
Yes. It's also why I let that midget Gaumont go. He's too nice. I can't put him through this. Plus, he knows how to get in here. That woman can't tell her tits from her arsehole. She has no chance. Tits from her arsehole. It's a local saying.
Actually, no, it's not.
Because we're friends, Harry. Besides, it doesn't matter now. You can go tell her if you want. It won't change the course of events. It's already happening. No idea. Could have been his own mother for all I know. If you ever find the guy, give him a big fat kiss from Everard Clare. Couldn't have done it without him.
He really doesn't know. A guy, huh?
I don't. I told you it could have been his own mother. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anyone from the Union. Maybe it was the mob. Or maybe he killed himself because he was a closet socialist. Truth is, I simply don't know.
He really doesn't.
$2,372. Plus yours truly, of course.
2,373 is a sizable contingent for a labor organization in Revachol.
Oh, you mean what sort of goods are going to be flowing through? How am I going to replace all the contacts we'll lose once the poo-poo hits the fan? The clients will ditch us. Harry, we've thought of everything.
Clients would take a well-known multinational conglomerate over a local mobster any day.
We've been running back channel negotiations with all the major clients. I think the company will be unpleasantly surprised to see how many of them stay loyal to Martinez and to the new competitive contracts we can offer. With renewed zeal sparked by communal ownership, the men will be shipping those containers double time. You'll be surprised to see how fast things go without parasites latching on.
That's drugs.
Drug trafficking.
Drug trafficking? Don't be stupid, Mr. Kitsuragi. There are perfectly legal, 100% ethical chemical factories on the Samaran Isola. You don't need to be colonialist about it. All they do is produce components to keep the pharmaceutical industry running. That's people's health we're talking about. Old grannies, little babes, people with disabilities. The company thinks transporting these chemicals in bulk looks bad, has bad optics, may be illegal in some countries. The Debarders Union, however, we're all about the large volume column.
In bulk shipping, large volume column is a major buyer, a shark.
We're gonna transport the living daylights out of those materials, Harry. So your sick kid can get his benefit and your wacky uncle doesn't have to come off risperazole.
Benefed is a children's cold medicine, usually apricot flavored, and risperidone is used to treat severe psychosis.
And the kids on the street can get speed and pyrrolidone.
I'm an old-fashioned guy, Mr. Kitsuragi. I sometimes grab a beer with the boys, but I have no idea about the things you just mentioned. But if I were to supply ingredients for some sort of rainbow party, I would make sure the Union took a fantastic share, and I'd keep that stuff far away from Martinez.
He's basically admitting to it.
Harry, if I was supplying raw materials to drug manufacturers, I would need an army of rubies.
Understood.
Oh, Harry, you've misunderstood. I have no drugs in my hands. It's all far removed from me, like some half-remembered dream. Anyway, let's not focus on the sensationalism of the drug trade. This hypothetical drug trade is all anyone ever seems to be interested in. It would only be a small part of the harbour's turnover, just like the harbour is, but a small part of Martinez. Let's look at the big picture. Martinez as a whole. There are little girls out there with dreams of making music. Young mothers who want to start businesses. Models who want to walk catwalks and steel welders who want to weld steel. I'm going to unite them all into one economic body. We're going to incorporate this place to Kingdom Come. Everyone's going to be in on the wealth, and everyone's going to pull their weight. Harry, the length you're willing to go to keep your nose clean is remarkable. You will always have a warm bed in Mr. Clare's household, my friend, and a special place in the future of Martinez. We're way past specific Union members now. This is the big time. We're talking about the future of Revachol here. You can bother Leonard with that. He loves to run his mouth on such matters. But I'm in big-time mode, Harry.
There's something different about him now. He's more vibrant, more alive in his big-time mode.
Harry, I've got to be honest with you. Your gun was found 2 days ago. Withholding this information weighed heavily on me, but it had to be done. An old woman has it, and let me tell you, Harry, word on the street is she's a character, so watch out.
This must be the woman who bought the gun from Roy, the one he described as terrifying.
Yes, the same one. I see you've done your research. The pawn shop made the gun easy to track. Crazy stuff, Harry. Selling your gun like that? Wild. The neighbors of this old woman contacted my men because they trust me and the Debardeurs Union. Apparently, she was waving it around at the entrance to her building. As I said, she's a character. I didn't have time for details. It sounds like she's unstable, but don't worry. No one got hurt.
We might be looking at someone with a medical history here. Watch out. Unstable is good, actually. She will be easier to disarm. No, wait. Actually, unstable is pretty bad.
Unfortunately, I don't know anymore. You're gonna have to go in blind, Harry. But she's an old lady. How dangerous can she possibly be? Oh, and she calls herself the Pigs.
There it is again. The Pigs. Like Roy said, not good at all.
I, for one, find it refreshing. Finally, someone calls themselves a pig.
I already have. Tonight, starting 10 o'clock, near the old fish market on the coast, the one on the boardwalk, a little past the fishing village. Be careful, Harry. I would never set you up for anything dangerous, but you did ask for this. Now, back to the fun stuff.
She will be there from 2200 hours till 0200 hours.
More fun stuff. Seems like we already have fun stuff to do.
Great, Harry, great. I think we have truly built a bridge between Martinez and Jamrock today. We have united the RCM and the Debarders Union. This has been so great. I'm sorry we don't have more fun things to do together, but if you ever feel like bouncing something off me, my door is always open.
You're back before the cargo container. This is the night watchman's booth.
Hola, Wandering Man. Oh.
You should return to the boardwalk once the body has been taken away. There's something you need to see. A little something that your visual cortex has put together while you were busy solving the case. Oh no, it's one of those show, don't tell things, isn't it? You can just stop by whenever you're close.
Necromancer pig? That shit was dark. Going in there like that. Oh, brutal shit. Kuno dies. You're gonna pick one out of his brain like that too? Kuno's gonna go out in a hail of bullets. Gonna look like a fucking porcupine. No, Kuno doesn't give a fuck about bugs.
So he knows locusts are bugs.
Oh my god, I told you that shit is lame!
Shut up, C.
Now they're gonna take you to lame prison! Deny everything, Kuno. You need to lawyer up.
Kuno's not gonna say anything without his lawyer.
There's definitely something going on here. Remember his pig's head shack? You should check it out.
Kuno doesn't fucking...
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Oh, I'm not being sarcastic at all. We are making real progress here.
When someone says they're not being sarcastic, it's usually a good sign that they're being very sarcastic.
If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Kuno. The phasmid doesn't exist. But what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here.
I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
Kuno's like Kuno's dad? Kuno doesn't give a fuck about anything. Yeah, Kuno took the bugs, so what? It's not Bugtown, it's the city of locusts. Locusts aren't just bug shit. They come out of the sky like a fucking shadow. Shit descends.
Stop!
You stop. It's like their fucking night. Locust City, Night City.
There's a tug of war over the name of his fantastical city. It's almost too big for his imagination. The girl forces herself to watch again, the corners of her eyes twitching from discomfort.
Kuno, the pig wants to help you. Oh, that's how lame it is. Please just don't say you're
an artist. Maybe I am an artist. You hear that, everyone? I'm a fucking artist now.
Did he just say I? Kuno usually calls Kuno, Kuno.
Oh my god, Kuno! He's gonna make you totally lame in, like, 3 seconds. Don't let him, Kuno!
Yo, fuck you, see? Kuno can be what Kuno wants to be. Kuno's his own man. Kuno's free. Kuno made himself into Kuno. Kuno can make himself into anything. Kuno can make himself into a pig if he wants. Kuno can make himself into a... Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Oh, don't make yourself into a pig, Kuno. You'll have to take me away.
In it, you hear snow melting, dripping from the eaves. Someone closing a window. Without a word, she disappears entirely behind the fence. For once, the boy is lost for words. He turns completely red now, with splotches of white beginning to appear across his face. You got him. Now convince him to leave the cryptozoologist's traps alone.
Kuno's gonna let the fucking locusts die. I don't give a shit. I don't need the locusts anyway. Shit is all lame now. She was right.
The girl's face appears again, above the fence, just long enough to make eye contact with... She doesn't know whether to be glad because Kuno's finally convinced of the lameness, or more worried because of his continued use of the first-person singular. Kuno is Kuno, not...
The fuck are they trying to catch anyway? With the traps?
He recognizes the name.
Bitches think Kuno doesn't know shit. The fuck out of here. Kuno's tired of this shit.
As you leave, you notice his usual rooster-like swaying posture has changed. Slowed down, like clockwork unwound.
Oh, hello, sweetie. So nice to see you again.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. You're chummy. Just go.
Oh, I'd be delighted. No. It's the cryptid. Oh, yes. The eight-eyed
mutation.
Until
This renown seems a bit dubious. Your own catalogue.
it happened on a botanical the world's alone. He was lost. Every now and then, the bird would dive down to feed on